Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. So, you already know what time it is. Get your drink and pull up. So, you can see we're in a hotel again. Got my hotel coffee. We're on the road again, down in San Diego getting my man's MRI, an updated MRI done, okay? Checking on that blood clot and another mass. So, send prayers our way. We need it. He's gonna be heading into surgery, depending on how the blood clot's doing, hopefully here in a few weeks. So today I wanted to talk about a topic that a lot of channels have already talked about. This is no secret what I'm gonna talk about, but I'm just gonna go over it. You know, we have a lot of new people that are learning, and I wanna just go over the 3 rules, the rule of 3 when it comes to survival. Now, Gray Man Prepping in my comments mentioned this. I'll put a link to his channel in the description box below. He has a very good channel, very informative. He actually has 2 channels. Camp Patton Family Compound is one of his channels, and then Gray Man Prepping. And it's not that big Gray Man Prepping fella, it's another one. Great information though from Gil is his name. So I'm gonna link him below so you guys can check him out. He has a lot of great information. But he mentioned, he was the last time I heard it. I literally just heard it again just a few days ago. One of my favorite channels, Homestead Corner, she mentioned it and talked about it as well. Okay, so lots of preppers talk about this. 3 rules to survival, or the rule of 3 for survival. And basically what that is that a person, an average person, and we're going to talk about this because I'm going to give my own little spin on this, can only go without 3 minutes of air, without no air, 3 minutes, and then you're dead. Water is 3 days without water, and then you're dead. And then food, 3 weeks without food, and then you're dead. Okay, and so this is like a rule of 3 because 1, it's dead on. Okay. It's kind of just, yes, it's a way to just kind of remember quickly, right? Those basic needs that you have. And if you do not meet those basic needs, your body obviously shuts down. Literally, your body shuts down. Now, let's talk about the first one. So obviously, air. We need air to breathe, right? So when you're thinking about, you know, the average person only has 3 minutes of air. Let me tell you, that's a little inaccurate for a lot of people. Okay, you have a lot of people who either for medical reasons or are smokers in some capacity or anything like that are already kind of at a disadvantage. Asthma, or already kind of at a disadvantage as far as the health of their body and the ability to breathe. Okay, what's that? COPD, all these different things. Just having medical concerns and different things you're working through already make that an issue. My man's on a CPAP. That already to me brings in another issue. Okay, respiratory, being able to breathe. Now, in regards to preparedness, you need to think about this in the sense of what can you get in your preps to prepare you for different scenarios and things. Okay, this can be as simple as, okay, what are the things that could happen to you where you can't breathe, you guys? Okay, you get stuck, your car goes off of through a barrier and it gets trapped in some water. This is the simple having your seatbelt strap cutters close by so that you can cut yourself out and give yourself the highest probability of surviving. Another thing is a lot of people have a fear of drowning. I have a fear of not necessarily like a fear of drowning, but you know when you just think of ways like, I am not trying to go out like that. Baby, I'm not trying to go out like that. Like, take me in my sleep, dear Lord. Please don't let me die an agonizing death, okay? Because drowning sounds horrific to me, okay? So something like that. Another thing people just don't think about that we're actually dealing with right now is just basic air quality, okay? I think that people think that 1, it's not that big of a deal. 2, people don't really know about it because they're maybe not living in areas where it's an issue. And like, for example, in California, we talk about it a lot because of fires. And again, I think people are like, okay, yeah, it looks foggy, it looks smoky, but it is very bad, and it does affect you. Just us last time on this last road trip we were driving, we had to drive almost the whole length of California. back down, and both ways up there was horrible air quality. And when I say horrible, yes, visible air quality, okay? But what I'm talking about is especially on the way back down, man, I was having a hard time in the car. You know, you have your little buttons you can push to supposedly keep, it's just the air inside the car that is circulating, recirculating, but that smoke is getting in. And I was having a hard time. You know, I just kept clearing my throat, and it was getting drier and I could feel basically the status of my throat getting drier and drier over time. Yes, I wasn't in the middle of getting ready to die, you guys, but I could feel it physically getting drier. I could feel my tongue physically getting drier. I needed more water. I was like, dang, my mouth is dry. I need more water. My eyes eventually started to be affected, and they were dry, and I just was like, I kept having to wipe them, like maybe almost as if I had makeup in them, ladies. It would just, they started burning. My man's sitting right next to me. He's trying to drive, and he's again wiping his eyes. So it affects you, okay? So you have to have certain preps, like masks, like having P100 masks. P100 masks are great masks because they do work for a lot of things. First of all, it's the mask we should be using if we were truly trying to stop something or didn't want to catch the medical crisis going on, okay? N95 is definitely a better mask than a lot of the regular everyday, you know, masks that you can get. But the P100 is the one, baby. And the P100, you can get just the mouthpiece, or you can get it with the mouthpiece and where it covers your eyes, okay? Because a lot of circumstances where you would want to employ a P100 mask, you would employ that mask, but you would also be wanting to protect your eyes for a medical crisis. For example, you know, you can still get stuff through your eyes. What did I just say? Oh, air quality. You can still get stuff through your eyes, okay? So a lot of times you have to be able to, you're gonna have to have something in case it got real bad, okay? And there's all types of other masks and all other types of air quality things, you know, that you have to worry about. You know, if there's any kind of, you know, nuclear attack in any capacity, right? Chemical, biological, radiological, it really doesn't matter. Depending on where the fallout is, the impact could be states and states and states and states away, but you are gonna have to worry about air quality with weather patterns and all of that stuff, okay? So masks, gas masks, having the right gear, having protective gear too, because in that instance, it's more than the air quality. It's actually your skin and everything that can take in radiation and take in, you know, bad stuff, okay? So we won't go too deep in that, but 3 minutes without air, and I would venture that, yeah, maybe shove comes to push, push comes to shove, you could last 3 minutes, but I don't know, you guys. That's a long time. Just try holding your breath for 3 minutes, right? You know, just try it and see what happens. Like, it's hard, okay? I'm not saying to practice to do it. I'm just saying it's hard, okay? Next one, so water. You already know this is my big thing, but 3 days basically you cannot go with water. I'm gonna give you an example though of how, again, the majority cannot go 3 days without water, okay? One, what's crazy is a lot of people don't drink water in general, right? So the average person does not drink enough water that they're supposed to have in their body at all times, right? One, it's annoying as all get out when you actually are hydrated the way that you're supposed to be hydrated. Average person is not hydrated. Second of all, like, perfect example, I just watched my, you know, one of my go-to shows, right? Naked and Afraid. If you haven't watched it, it's a funny show, but there is still a lot to be learned as a person who's trying to prepare, right? And this gal was amazing. She was an itty bitty gal. She was like a bear hunter. I was like, oh, she's gonna go out there and kick butt. I just can't wait to see her, right? She was down for the count right away, okay? They got their water, they boiled it, they drank it. It was horrible tasting. She immediately got sick. Within 2 minutes, she was sick as a dog. Her partner kept making the water better, right? He kept taking it up a notch, cleaning it up more, filtering more. Obviously, they don't have actual filters out there, but he was making homemade filters, and he was getting cleaner. And each time he was giving it to her, she was saying, it's getting better, it's getting better. But it was not getting better for her, you guys. She was still sick. She could not keep any of it down. It literally was only a day and a half before she got pulled because her body was shutting down, okay? She couldn't, and I promise you, she probably drank as much water as she possibly could before the show. And then to show you how important it is, she looks horrible. She's at the brink of death on the ground. She needs water. They get her in the vehicle to like take her off the show, and they give her a bottle of water, and like immediately she's drinking it, and immediately she's all like talking and coherent, and like is talking about it and stuff. So it's wild, you guys. Water is super important. And the other thing is, water is in a lot of things that, you know, a lot of the country drinks stuff like soda and different drinks, right? Different juices and things like that. And all that's good, because that's another source that would have possibly some sort of kind of water in it and hydration. Possibly not good though, and possibly work against the effects of and the importance of water. But the average person, you guys, even though, you know, the rule of 3 is in effect, it's 3 days average person, or 3 days a person can go without water. That 3 days is for the natural survival, hardcore, hydrated soul, right? That, because the average person can't go, you guys know, 3 days. Okay, so water is super important. I can't stress enough. I say it all the time. Get water in your home. Get water in your home. Get water in your home. Be thinking about the water sources on your property, around you. If you live in a community, look at a map and see where the bodies of water are around where you live. You've got to know. Find out where the community pools are around you in your area. You've got to have a knowledge of where your water's at, okay? In case you get to a point where you have to go out and procure that water, okay? The next one is food, okay? So the rule is basically you can go 3 weeks without food. Again, I'm gonna go to the show Naked and Afraid. They're on the show for 21 days, okay? 3 weeks, because it's known, you know, it's 3 weeks is what people, so ideally if these people don't find any food, ideally they should be able to not die, right? But again, when you're doing things, you're doing physical activity, you're doing the things, not even out having a good time. I'm talking about doing the things, trying to stay alive, getting firewood, keeping a fire going, trying to find food, trying to find water, trying to purify that water. Those basic things take a lot of energy, and when you're not eating, that's a bad thing, okay? And yes, you can go a while without food, but it just goes downhill, and you have to be replacing that, and then you're already in the negative right away the minute that you're not getting regular intake of food, okay? So the average person, you know, I would say probably can't last 3 weeks, okay? That's what's gonna make it very, very dangerous, is the last two, food and water, in any situation, because these are 3 things, you guys, that you have to be able to have and do to be able to live. You need to be able to breathe, you need to have food, and you need to have water, or your body will shut down. And of course, there's all types of other variables. I'm going to use us as an example again. Yesterday, we had to do a huge fast, 6-hour fast for this MRI. And of course, you know, I'm not trying to eat if my man can't eat, right? I was cranky, you guys. Super, super cranky. You know, it was horrible. I wasn't a good person, right? And I was like, thank God we prep food, because the day we don't have food, I'm probably killing people. Like, it was horrible, okay? I was super cranky, and it just gave me an example of like how important it is to have food in your body when your body needs it. So those are, if you haven't heard of those, I'm glad I did the video. I get it for those of you, because that's not something that I just made up. I'm not some smart gal that just made up like, oh, the rule of 3s, you know. No, maybe that's been around for a long time. But it's 3 aspects of preparedness that you have to cover down on. What I would like to hear in the comments below is all your guys' ideas, things that you're doing for those 3 things to cover down for those 3 areas, those 3 rules, or those rules of 3, and just kind of help out the group so that they're kind of covered down. Obviously, it's kind of black and white, right? You need food in your home as much as possible, and you need water in your home, around your home. Know where you can get water, because again, none of us can prep enough water to last. Eventually that runs out. So you need to be thinking long term too. If you know you need food and water to live, and let's just say you were badass and you prep 5 years of food, what happens in 5 years? So you have to be changing it on your survival mode. You know, you need to be growing your own food, raising your own animals, being self-sufficient, procuring water, knowing where you can get water, having a water source that you can actually go to and get water when that stuff that you prep runs out, you guys. Because it's not a magical, oh, I'm just gonna prep and fine. Yeah, but everybody's preps has an expiration date of when it runs out. Yes, some stuff you can use over and over and over, but things like food and water, eventually it runs out. So you have to figure out how to make it last, and start growing it. Okay, you're gonna have to start growing your own food, raising, hunting, getting good with those skills, whatever it is you got to do, baby, to make sure that later, when things maybe are not as good, you can still maintain those 3 things so that you can live. So I'll see you guys next time on the next video. Take care. Bye.